It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is to provide you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Duke Lott, who's in the building. What's going on, Duke? How are you, my man?
Good evening, sir. How you doing today? I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Thanks a lot. They're looking below. They'll read your bio. But we have a topic today: how to have a successful interracial and interpersonal relationship. Take a moment, if you can. I know this might be an obvious question, but I want you to frame it from your view of the world. That why are there still challenges today dealing with diversity in relationships when we've come so far? Things have changed so much, but yet the common denominator still seems to be there. So here's the question: what are some of the challenges with interracial relationships or interpersonal relationships as well?
Well, some of the challenges, dealing with family and dealing with the world in general, because everyone's not going to accept your relationship, and everyone's not going to be there for you. Everyone's going to look at it their way. So the challenges is just being able to love who you love, be who you want to be, and take it one day at a time, and just make sure that you focus on learning about your partner, learning about diversity, learning about their ups and downs, learning about what they go through, and just being accepting of who they are.
As they're listening, they're wondering, what is Duke's backstory? What led Duke to come out and say, you know what, this is important. This is something that I want to focus on. And we'll talk about a book that you wrote around it as well. But what's the backstory, your backstory? And then what was that turning point, that defining moment in your life? And you said, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to go off and I'm going to do something to make sure that everyone has the tools they need in order to be able to be in an interracial relationship.
Yes, and it's a tongue twister. I know it, but it's So I've been through a divorce, and it took a toll on my life. And through those times and through those ups and downs, I jotted down what I needed to do better, what was my successes, what was my failures, and how can I be better the second time. So in writing the book, I just wanted to introduce what I took for my first relationship. Difficult, but once you enter it, you have to be in it for the long haul. So you have to understand the ups and downs, and you have to understand that it's going to be times where there's going to be good and it's going to be bad, but you have to push through it.
For the folks, in a point of clarification, were you in an interracial marriage? We want to get a point of
Yeah.
clarification on that. And if you were, how long were you married? And of course, the women want to know, how long were you married? And is this something that was a fast marriage, or is this something that y'all had a relationship before? I mean, you don't have to share if you don't want to share your personal business. But folks are probably curious, like, wait a minute, is this something he just jumped in and then it was over the next day? Is this somebody he knew? So take a moment, if you would, and just kind of give us a little more of who you are and how you found yourself in a relationship.
Yes. Well, so I was married for 13 years, almost 14 years. I had a stepson, and it was a situation where, I was working and making sure that I took care of my family, but uh, life took its toll, and we went through some things where it was some things were my fault and some things were just the relationship. But I was married for 13 years. I have a beautiful 21, 22-year-old daughter who is getting ready to graduate college right now, and it was some very good times in my life, and we are friends to this day. Um, but it just didn't work out because of some of my failures. And um, as a man, you got to take the blame, even if it's not your blame. But to me, it's important to take responsibility for um, the things that happen, regardless if it was my fault or not. So it was a great relationship. We have a beautiful daughter. And like I said, we remain friends to this day.
Yeah, as a person who's been married twice, by the way, I get it. Both times were my fault, by the way. I was a young whippersnapper back then. You don't want to know about Shay Brown when he was a young whippersnapper. I take full responsibility, full responsibility. Thank God for both of the women that I was married to. I got two beautiful sons, and they were beautiful moms. And, I'd like to put that Shay Brown in the closet. Okay. I'm a little older, a little wiser these days. I've been through a few
Right.
things. So I get it. Let's first, if we can, take the first step. And for someone that's listening right now and says, okay, Shay, before we get into the interracial relationships, what is one or two or three lessons that Cedric's learned that he would want to share with us right now, that if we're in any relationship, these are one, two, or three key things that can help the relationship be happy and joyful and loving and kind and so forth. And then we'll get into what the differences and dynamics when there's an interracial relationship. Is that okay? Can we go there first, just to the folks that are like, I just want to know what I need to do to be happy. And this guy's been divorced, so he should know something that he can share with me. 13 years, man, congratulations. That was a nice run.
Yeah, and it was some good times. We had a lot of great times, and I have no regrets on that. Um, but it was, you grow, and one of the things that I pride myself on is being diversity first. I believe in diversity, equality, and inclusion. And one of the things that I understand about interracial relationship is being the leader and the expert is you have to be okay with someone's culture. And in my book, that's lesson number 38. And it's a very important lesson because you have to be able to understand someone else's culture so that you understand where they're coming from, and you won't freak out. You'll be able to understand where they're coming from and understand that they're different from you, and then you can go forward. But you have to be okay with someone else's culture. So if I come from a family that loves opera and classical, and I marry someone that has only listened to rap music their whole life, I have to understand that we're gonna see the world in two different ways. So we have to be okay with that.
You have to be okay with that and making sure you understand diversity. So one of them is diverse. Is communication still the same? And before we get into interracial, is it the same whether you're in a same type of marriage, or if you're in a different races? Is communication different, or is it the same?
It's different, but it's also the same. It's
Mm.
different because you have to understand where the person is coming from. If I grew up in the inner city my whole life, how am I going to relate to you if you grew up in the suburbs? We're going to see the world in two different views. So you have to be able to say, I'm going to learn. I'm going to take the time to learn where that person's coming from. And for me, it's just making sure that you understand and you listen. Make sure you listen, because if you listen more than you talk, then you can understand someone else's culture and where they come
Mm.
from.
So you have to listen. Okay, that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing that. And listening means different things to different folks, right? By the way, because there's passive listening and then there's active listening. So I appreciate you taking time to break this down for us. By the way, now on the interracial side, what
Yes.
are one or two things you say, Shay? It's a little unique. Here's one or two things that's a little bit unique, and then I think you mentioned a blended family when when you're in your marriage as well. So give
Yeah.
us a two part. This is a loaded question, ladies and gentlemen. So maybe he'll answer, maybe he won't. But the first part is, you know, being in a blended family by itself has its own dynamics. Okay. And I was a product of a blended family, and my mother went through a divorce, and then we had a stepfather, and that had its own inherent problems. Um, and so I guess my question is, for folks that are listening, is a blended family, and interracial all combined in a mixing bowl.
Oh,
What's some of the challenges there, man? Forget the dynamics of. I only had two sons. I never had a girl. I heard you mention that you have a daughter, so I don't even know how that even works. So let's just start with the blended family part first.
yeah. When you have the daughter, you take it a little bit more personal than the son. The son is kind of he's going to grow, but you have to understand not everyone's going to accept your relationship. So you're going to go to those family gatherings and you're going to be there and no one's going to talk to you or some people's going to talk to you and you just have to be able to take the punches and keep on rolling because sooner or later, those people that won't talk to you, they're going to come talk to you, ask you questions, want to learn about who you are and where you come from. So, in an interracial relationship, you have to be able to be okay with not being accepted. Because if you are accepted, that's such a blessing. But if not, you have to be able to not take it out on your partner and just realize that everyone is not going to accept it and maybe you have to win people over and maybe you don't. But you have to be willing to understand that you might not be accepted, but you have to try to be the best person that you can be to get them to accept you. Then when they to speak to you, don't hold things against them. Keep on moving, love them, and be understanding of people's views. It's okay for me and you to have different views, but if we are intelligent people and we want to learn about each other, what we will do is try. And that's the key thing is to try. And like I said before, listening is a huge factor.
Tell us about the book that you have, by the way. What's the name of the book? Who was the book written for? And what's the genesis of the book?
So the book has the title of Interracial in it, but it's a practical self-help guide to be able to for all relationships, the practical self-help guide for all relationships. So in the book you go through different lessons and what you get is different nuggets, different tips on how to spice things up, how to move forward, how to be accepting, how to learn about different cultures, different food. I mean, that's one of the big things that I learned about being in an interracial relationship is that people like different foods. So if I like chitlins and you don't, then maybe I can get you to try some. But if I can't, then that's okay too. So the book is a self-help guide for all relationships, but I put interracial in it because as an author, I had to be true to my journey and what I've been through. And so I wanted to just be true as an author and write down what I know and the steps that it took me to overcome the failures to lead me to success.
Well, you have to pick the book up. We want to see the book, number one. You got to give us one tip from the book. There's like 101, I think, by the way. So you can't just leave us hanging on the edge. There are folks out there. There you go. Hold it up. There are folks that want to see it. They're like, okay, it's a real book. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. He has 100 lessons in it. I'm going to ask him where you can get it, where you can purchase it, and so forth. But they're wondering now, hey, can he open up the book? Can he give us one or two or three lessons? There's 101 in the book. Well, I'm sure he can
Oh,
do that. So we're going to ask you to kind of share something with us. We're all on the edge, and even if you're not in an interracial relationship right now, you can benefit from this. So it is a self-help book as well. So I'm gonna ask him to pick out maybe two or three of his favorites. Now they're all his favorites, or they wouldn't all be in there. So it's an unfair question, okay? But he'll pick out three of his favorites
oh,
and share them with you. And that's one of the benefits of you being here right now. You can be present with the one and only Duke Lott, who's in the building. He has his own show. He has another book coming out, by the way. He does a whole lot of stuff. He does this whole prevention thing as well. We'll get around to that in a second. So, Duke, if you can, give him three ideas from the book, man, please.
okay. So one thing that's important, I believe, in all relationships, but it's very important in a interracial relationship because of society and how people judge. And it's lesson 18 in my book is never disagree in public. Because when you disagree in public, the people who see you are going to take sides. And we know how that goes. So you have to be able to have private discussions about the struggles or whatever you may be going through. So never disagree or never argue in public. And that's lesson number 18. Lesson number 13 is opinions matter. You have to understand that your partner is going to have an opinion about what you do, what they do. You have to be able to accept their opinions and take it into consideration and keep moving forward. And one thing that I pride myself on in being an expert is that avoid friendships that cause relationships to fail. Relationships and friends, which is lesson number 58, it can doom your relationship. It can make it bad because, if I come from a black family or if I come from a white family, we're all gonna disagree and we're all gonna look at things in certain ways because you have to be able to know the warning signs and use verbal and non messages to be able to convey those warning signs and say, hey, let's talk about this. We're not going to do it in front of everybody, but be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you keep your friends close and those who love you, make sure you value their opinion because they're just trying to look out for
Yeah. So well said. We have a segment here called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you wait for this moment. It's the moment in the day at 11 o'clock where you get to say, Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you. Doesn't that feel good? I mean, every time I say it, it feels good deep, deep, deep down inside of me as well. But for those folks that are new to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, we're so glad you're here. Welcome to the family. We're going to suggest you hit the share button, hit the like button, pay this message forward to someone else. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra. It represents that you get a do-over. It represents a new beginnings. It means the past, no matter how many dark, no matter how many gloomy, no matter what's happened back there, the past no longer equals the future. So my question to Duke on the other side is two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, man, what was another setback that maybe you had in your life that you had to bounce back from?
Okay, I love the question, and I'm so grateful for that question because new beginnings are big for me and they're big for people. So, um, my January 1st, forgetting all the successes and the accomplishments of 2023. I'm moving forward. I have a new book coming out called Fear Led Me to Faith. And it's a very, very detailed book about my journey and what it took for me to get to this point. A lot of hard work and dedication. So that's my January 1st, is forgetting all those things that I feel and that I know is successes. One of the things I've been through in my life is I am a person that has had double hip surgery, total hip replacement. So in that journey, I tried to work through it, and I got addicted to pain pills. I took pain pills to be able to deal with the pain because I tried to mask it and get through. Um, to support my family and just keep on moving. But the pain became so unbearable um, that I went through that. And then I had double hip surgery. So I have two brand new hips in my body that has allowed me to gain my life back. I can run, I can play with my kids, I can do things that a normal person could do. And for a little bit, part of my journey is that I'm also a tennis player. So I played tennis in college, and it was a thing where I got used to being active and being able to do things, and the hip pain took away all that. So that's one of um, the failures I feel in my life, and I learned a lot from it. It has led me to success because one of the things that I pride myself on is no one's gonna outwork me. So I work really hard. And I've worked really hard to get to this point. So my January 1st is forgetting all the successes and starting over to gain more success, but also remembering the failures so that it will drive me to keep working hard.
Thanks for sharing, man.
And
Thanks for
that's,
being so authentic.
for me, that's how I change the world. My journey is about helping as many people as I can, and that's my comeback story, and that's how I change the world.
Appreciate you sharing. Appreciate you again being so authentic. You know, there are folks that are watching right now, and I know one of the things you do is you help folks go through very difficult times. Call it prevention, call it someone going through crisis. And, you know, there might be someone that's watching right now, maybe going through a divorce, maybe someone going through something where family members, life just knocked them down. Okay, they land on their back right now. It's very, very difficult times. And if you had, 2 minutes to speak to someone that's listening right now, and they're like, "Man, Shay, you guys seem to have it all together, but I'm at the end of my wits road." What would Duke say to me, Shay, if he could just talk directly to me? So I like to give you maybe a minute or two to do that. And if you're out there right now, tune in, listen. This is someone that this is what he does for a profession. This is what he does for his life. He helps folks like myself and others who've had challenges. Some of them very self-inflicted, but he doesn't judge. So anyway, take it away, man. What would you say to the persons out there right now that's just struggling? Life's kind of got them down now, man.
First of all, if you can look up, you can get up. It's a famous quote from a great speaker that I admire. So you have to be willing to work hard. You have to be willing to accept the mistakes, the failures, so that you can look forward in life. I am a person that believes in second chances. I believe that people, as long as you want to do the right thing, you deserve a chance. So just don't ever give up. Don't give up hope. Make it where you work hard and that you get a reward for your pain. The things that keep me going is my why and looking towards the future, but remembering the past. So you have to be able to understand that life is about going forward, and you can do it. You can do it as long as you don't give up, but you have to be willing to put in the work. If you're not willing to put in the work, then you're just going to be what you're going to be. You're going to be like everybody else. But if you're willing to put in the work, you can get there, but you just don't give up. Things are going to get hard. Sometimes it's going to be easy. You're going to have tests and trials, but make sure that you keep God first and that you also take care of yourself so that you can take care of others and pay it forward. Always pay it forward. The one thing that has blessed me in my life is that I've never forgotten who's helped me get to this point. So if you pay it forward and make sure that you give what you receive, then just make the world a better place than you left it and just keep on moving forward. It's all about going forward.
It's all about going forward. I love it, man. Thanks for being so authentic. Thanks for being yourself. I'm curious, man. You mentioned a famous quote. Who's been a mentor to you along this journey of life? One of my favorite questions I ask is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given, right? And I would say you've had so many mentors along this journey of life. Some of you may have met, some of you have only been online. I've got so many mentors that are just online folks to me, by the way, through social media. They don't even know they're mentors. Isn't that kind of cool? But what's one piece of advice that you've been given that you want to share with anyone that's listening right now? And you at home, this is the time you get to lean in because you get to get something that's near and dear, a core value. And we all have our values, but a core value for Duke Lott that you can take away with.
Well, I have two if I could share them. So if you can
Sure.
look up, you can get up. If you can look up, you can get up. That is Les Brown. And the other one that I have is Napoleon Hill. I love to read his books. I love the mastermind. I love the how you can become better in life. So one of Napoleon Hill's thing is always do more than is expected. Always do more than is expected. And when you do more than is expected from you, you will get a reward. Sometimes it will come slow, sometimes it will come fast. But if you're willing to do more than what's expected of you, you will win. Always do more than what's expected.
Thanks, man. What do you do for fun these days when you're not out saving the world and making a difference for other folks? I know you mentioned tennis, by the way. I never played tennis. I mean, I tried to play tennis. I'm just not good at all. Didn't put any time into it, and I didn't have a talent for it. So I just never, that wasn't a hobby of mine. But what's one of the things you like to do for fun?
I like to read. I'm a reader. I like to read books. I have a big book collection. I'm a reader. But one of the things I like to do, I like to exercise. I like to play golf. But the main thing I do for fun is I like to play with my kids, man. I have little kids, and they're my why. They're why I do it. They're why I work so hard, and they keep me young. They keep me fit, and it's just a thing that I enjoy the most is being home with my kids. And when I'm not home with them, I miss them, and uh, it's very important for me to spend time with them and be able to play with them. So.
Cool beans.
Um, like I said, I've been worse, so I started all over again, and I have young kids, and they keep me young, and I love them.
Yeah. Now you can't leave us on the edge. Everybody's saying, Shay, you've got to ask him what book is he reading. I mean, you can't just throw out he is an avid reader and he not tell us what's the last book he read or one of the books he'd recommend. I mean, it's just not fair, Shay. So I've got to ask the question, man. What's one of the books you read recently? That's cool. And then in the collection that you have there, if you said, hey, this is one of my favorite books. I think you gave it to us already. One of your favorite books, not the Bible. That's in a category by itself. It doesn't get classified, right? What's
That
one? So here's two-part question. What's one of the last books you read? And number two, what's one of the books that you have that you would recommend?
Okay, so one of the books I just finished is called The Spiritual Man by Watchman Nee. It's a couple parts to it, but the one I just read is called The Spiritual Man, and it's by Watchman Nee. It's such a great book, and it teaches you very detailed lessons on how to become more spiritual and how to be a better person. So one of the books that I recommend is The Tao of the Side Hustle, and it is such a good book. It's so great. It teaches you how to try to mastermind your business, but also understand that your customers are the most important. It's not just about making money; it's about taking care of your customers and giving them what they want. Because when you give the customer what they want, then you receive the reward, and it may be monetary, it might be a thank you, but you receive the reward when you take care of the customer.
I love it, man. Thanks so much for sharing. Tell us about the Duke Lott Show, man. And one of my favorite books is The 12-Week Year, by the way. It's my favorite book. It's one of my top 5 books of all time, by the way. It's just, if you ever know me, they know it's one of my favorite, which is how to do more in 12 weeks than you would in 12 months. That there's no such thing as 12 months. It's something that was made up. But anyway, that's just a little tidbit for me. Tell us about the Duke Lott Show as we come down the home stretch, man. What's the show? Who's the show for? What's the backstory that led you to do the show? So 3 questions. What's the show? Who's the show for, and what's the backstory that led you to doing this show these days?
Okay, so right now we're at about 25,000 listens and downloads. The Duke Lott Show. We just finished season 2, which was great. The last interview that I had was Miss Tamara Miller Davis, an author. So the show is about diversity, uh, controversy, and all positive energy. So, what led to the show was that I have done guest appearances on show, and one of the people that I look up to is Rena Watts Friedman, and she was the one that gave me the chance to get into the podcast game, and I love her for it. So, it's definitely she's a mentor of mine and a very important person. So, like I said, we are at 20 no, we are at 39 countries throughout the world, and we are over 48 states in the United States.
Okay, man. Congratulations, man. Good job, man. So cool. So I'm gonna suggest you all go
Yes.
online. Make sure you download the podcast and connect with Duke Lott, the Duke Lott Show. Final two questions. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to work with these days? And number two, how can folks get the book and how can they connect with you, man?
Well, you can find me at the Duke Lott on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. It's all the same handle. Nothing changes. We're here for you. Message me. Um, Leave some comments, and just if we can help you, we deal with crisis management, diversity consulting, and we're here for you in any fashion that we can serve. It's all about being a service to the people.
Thanks so much, man, for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. You're amazing. I know you can always make more time, but you can't make more money. So thanks for being on the show.
And thank you for
And
having me.
thank
I
you.
appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Without you, there is no show. So we want you to know that we appreciate you. I'm so humbled that those folks that pay this message forward. I don't take it lightly when you hit the share button. I don't take it lightly when you tell a friend. I don't take it lightly when you pay it to other folks, by the way. So thank you so much. And remember this. Remember this as you go out there. And there's this book. Don't forget to get the book there. Remember this as you're out there, that you're amazing. You're incredible. You've got greatness inside you. And for you, today is your January 1st. And because of that reason, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless. We wish you success. Peace out, Duke. Bye-bye.